If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
Lowe's knows that no matter your paint project, saving is at the top of your list. That's why when you shop today, you can buy one, get one free select Valspar and HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams one-coat coverage interior paints via rebate. Shop these deals in-store or online today at Lowe's. We help, you save. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Offer valid 8/21 through 9/3.
Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
Live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. And some wonders like, well, how do you stay, Mo, connected to the news, what's going on locally when you're on vacation in Europe? Well, I had to slowly ramp myself back up and get into the swing of things. So I think it was maybe Friday, and Rome is 9 hours, or depending on if you're in Greece, 10 hours ahead of this time zone. So I want to say Friday, I'm on the ship. It's between the last stop in Greece and the last stop in Rome. I'm starting to digest more Southern California news, and I'm trying to get myself back up to speed. And one of the stories that I did see was this Leno's Law, as in Jay Leno, which had been trying to make its way through Sacramento. And this is something that I'd followed from a distance, but now it's back in the news because California State Assembly Appropriations Committee, from what I read, has killed Leno's Law, which was aimed to give classic car owners, and I love classic cars, it was aimed to give those owners a pass regarding smog requirements. And Jay, if you happen to be listening right now, go ahead and give us a call on the hotline. We'll put you right up because I know this is something which is very important to you. In fact, the last time he called in was when we were talking about classic cars. He just called in out of nowhere. And I understand, or at least from a distance, I understand what Jay was trying to accomplish. If you have a car that's, let's say, older than 15, 20 years, yes, you have to get it smog checked, I think, like every other year. And it can be prohibitively expensive dealing with an aging car, catalytic converters, all that kind of stuff. And I understand why he would want to do it, try to do it. But I also understand that this is California and the Democrats would never do it. It's just something, trying to be environmentally friendly, quote unquote, that's not going to make it through this.
Yeah, but it almost seems like this is picking on a group for no reason, because everyone doesn't have a classic car. This is a small group of car owners. So I'm like, why are you picking on the small fries? To me, that's one of the things I'm like, you could take this time to do more to build up and enhance the infrastructure of California so we can have more charging stations, more access for individuals with electronic cars, increase the electronic car purchase rebates, things like that. If you really want to do something and go in a different direction, because classic car owners, that's a very small group of Californians.
Wait a minute, I just got hit by Jay's assistant, so he might be able to get him on. So keep on talking.
It's just, I think that Jay Leno taking up this fight is the absolute right move. And, of course, we absolutely support anything that Jay is doing. And this, to me, as someone who is a fan of classic cars, like right down the street from us at the Bob's Big Boy, they still have the night where they get together and they bring out those cars. But you know what? It's only like 50 people.
Think about this. What did we used to do each Labor Day?
The Labor Day car cruise. Yes.
And we would go out, I think it was like OC Fair, an event center.
Yes.
They'd have the cruise of these classic cars, many of them muscle cars, all of those cars which would be impacted by Leno's Law.
And guess what? There's only about 200 at the most cars on site. And of those cars, not every one of them was driving. Some of them were just there for show.
Yeah.
So to me, this is one of those things that's like, come on, California, of all the things that we could be targeting, you want to stop this one?
This is, I think, a function of what I would say governmental greed, where they would rather have the registration fees and the smog fees than just doing. It's like too much. Like, right, can't get out of our own ways. To your point, it's a relatively small segment, but also you could help enough Californians with this. It's when I say it's minor, I'm not trying to criticize the law as it being unimportant, but it's not impacting a major slice of Californians where there shouldn't have been any real obstacles for this. There shouldn't be any real pushback.
Yeah.
For me, I look at these cars like they're works of art. And that's the thing. If you look at a painting, it's like, are we going to take a painting off of the wall of the Getty because it has lead-based paint?
That's a great point.
Wow.
These are works of art, and we should treat them as such. If the people who own these cars are upkeeping them with the original gear and everything inside, then they shouldn't be subjected to the same laws, because these aren't just the normal cars that people are driving around in. These aren't the cars that people are driving across town in, sitting in 2 hours of traffic. They're pulling these cars out once a week to go to Sundays. These car shows. They should be exempt from these rules.
It looks like it's for cars from 1975 and earlier. So
come on. This is really just petty.
That even makes it smaller. Yeah. We're not even talking like a 1977 El Camino. We're not talking about a good portion of the classic muscle car demographic.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're only talking about a relatively small number, because if you're growing up in the late 1960s and 70s, like I was, it was a part of the American identity, these cars. You could turn on a show like Starsky and Hutch or I'm trying to think.
We had Knight Rider.
Knight Rider, yes, with the Trans Am.
I mean, Chicks was full of classic cars. You know, I mean, there's so many shows that we used to watch that classic cars were a part of the show. I mean, hell, if you ever spent any time watching Happy Days, you saw nothing but classic muscle cars.
Well, and movies, Vanishing Point, you got your 2-lane blacktop. You going to tell Kowalski from Vanishing Point he's got to pass an emissions test?
Are you going to tell whoever the present owner of that fastback Mustang from Bullitt?
Don't. Just don't.
Do I need to even say it?
Heresy.
It's later with Mo Kelly. We'll see if we can find out if Jay's available. His people just hit me, so we'll see what happens. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
Your app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI is Mo Kelly. Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. I'm back from vacation, and I missed you guys. Well, not Mark Ronner, but everyone else.
You brought something back from that filthy cruise ship, and it made me cough.
It doesn't work that way, okay? It's going to be incubating in your body and gestating for the next, I don't know, day or two, and then you'll have something blast out of your chest.
No, all those things are just floating Petri dishes. Admit it.
Goodness, we're going to get you on the ship come April. But right now, pleased to be joined by none other than the Jay Leno as we talk about Leno's Law. Mr. Leno, how are you doing this evening?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. And when I saw this story about Leno's Law and how it's aimed at easing classic car smog requirements in California. And also that at this point it has failed because of our state legislature. Of course, I thought of you and wanted to reach out to you. What was some of the reasons why you wanted to pursue this, and where are we now?
Well, I mean, the interesting thing is, if you have your grandfather's car, for example, in other states, like in Massachusetts, where I grew up, cars rusted out after a couple of years. Here in California, cars last a long, long time. You can drive.
The line dropped. We'll try to get him right back. But I know the point that he was going to make. And Tuala, you understand this. If you're on the East Coast and you have a car, due to rock salt and all the other elements, your car is going to rust rather quickly.
Street conditions, all of that. Yeah, no, cars burn out quickly on the East Coast.
And to his point, if you have a car here on the West Coast, it is not unusual that you may have a car bequeathed to you, handed down to you, and it's going to last. Like my last car prior to this one, I had it for 160,000 miles. The car before that was 300,000 miles. So cars last longer.
In general, we take care of our cars better here in California.
All right, and here is Mr. Leno calling right back. We'll get him up in just a second. But there's no one better that we can talk to. Mr. Leno, are you there?
I'm back. You know, Los Angeles is like Guatemala now. It's a beautiful day. It's sunny, and the power goes out, You're welcome. Welcome to the new Los Angeles.
You were saying that cars last longer here in California.
Well, cars last longer here in California. It's just the idea that, you see, up until 1996, from 1996 on, you had something called onboard diagnostics, which with a monocar, you drive in, you plug in, and in 10 seconds whether your car pass or fail. I mean, it's real quick. It's $45 or whatever it is, right? Older cars, they have to be driven in up on a roller, like what they call a rolling road. You back your back tires and you hold it to 30 miles an hour. The car's shaking, the floor's shaking, kind of. Okay, first of all, not many service stations have that smog stations have that sort of equipment anymore. So you have to drive around to try and find one that can even do a test on your pre-90s car. So there's only 2 or 3 in Los Angeles at this point. So it's hard to find. So consequently, you wind up making criminals out of people. You're driving a car you've had for 30 years, and it's always run fine. Obviously, if your car is belching smoke and all those kind of things, well, your car you're going to get nailed. But that's not the case here. So the idea is just these cars are exempt in every other state. Why shouldn't they be here,
What do you think is the reason behind the pushback? I was speculating, hey, California just wants to have more registration fees, smog fees. It's just about money. Is it about that or something else?
No, I don't know. Something. Look, when I came to California in the 70s, there was probably a tenth of the amount of cars there are now. And the smog was unbelievable. There were days for like 115 days a year, they'd say don't go outside. Okay, now you have 10 times as many cars, and the air is infinitely cleaner. So obviously, they've done a very good job. But to me, it's a bit like alcohol. We tried banning alcohol outright, and it didn't work. So we make it 0.08, okay? So you can get 0.08. And it's kind of the same thing with smog. I mean, if you have an older car, obviously a car from the 70s is not going to be as efficient as a car from the current model year. But it's also, if you've been driving it for 50 years, you've done less environmental damage than someone who buys a new car every couple of years. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's one reason. But I don't think obviously money and registration is part of it, but I'm not that much of a cynic. I think, there are people in the Air Resources Board in these places that are very committed to cleaning up the air, and they get a bit overly zealous about it, get to the point where it's like, really, this car's been run perfectly for the last 35 years, and I have to get rid of it. And what do you do when you get rid of it? Well, you sell it to somebody in Nevada. All right, so now you've just moved it to another place. So, and plus, most of these old cars don't get rid of them. I have a car I bought brand new in 1989, It's got 27,000 miles on it. That's less than 1,000 miles a year. Okay, and it passes smog, but it's harder and harder to find a place to do the rolling road and get the smog test, you know.
From a legislative standpoint, we're talking about Senate Bill 712, which was advanced first by Bakersfield Republican Senator Shannon Grove. Now
Right.
What is the next step? Is there a next step? Can you modify the bill in some way and resubmit it?
Well, that's what we did. We modified it, and we instead of making it it's going to be 35 years and older, we moved it back another, you know. But, you know, and then they do these things in the middle of the night where they vote on something, and what happened? Hey, my wallet's gone. You know, it's those kind of, you know, it's you know, I thought show business was sneaky. Oh, my God, politics.
It's much worse.
I'm not even in the same league. And we gave it a try. You know, look, we drove the movie industry out of California, and for the longest time, hot rodding and car modifications and the car culture really started in Los Angeles, and we've pretty much driven that out too. You know, it's just to get more and more businesses leaving California. And, you know, there aren't enough old cars around to really. It's like 0.01% of all the cars in the state that would be affected by this. So,
I don't want to connect dots that aren't there, so correct me if I'm wrong. Is this, do you think, connected to this whole EV green initiative that California and Governor Newsom has been pushing, and so they want to actually further discourage fossil fuel industry cars of that note?
You know, I'm not good at speaking on things I have no proof about. I mean, we could speculate. That would be an interesting reason, I suppose, and I suppose there are people who do believe that. You know, but you know, look, we gave it a good shot. You know, we organized enough people, and it passed. It got further than any other bill like this has gotten, and we thought, oh, when September comes, the governor will just decide whether to veto it but it never even got that far. So, yeah, that's where we are. You know, it's you know, I never assume everybody's motives are evil or bad. I think people want to clean up the state, and they've done a wonderful job of cleaning up the state. I mean, the air is much cleaner in California than it's ever been. Wouldn't you agree?
I absolutely agree. I remember those smog days, and I'm a little bit younger than you, and I say that with great respect, but we weren't allowed to go out for recess at that time because we had the smog alerts.
Yeah, right. And, you know, and look, I drive, to me, the electric car is the great savior of the gasoline car, because to have some gas-polluting cars sitting in the 405 freeway doesn't do any good. I use my electric car when I run back and forward and go to the airport. And then on the weekends, I use my cars the way people would use a snowmobile or any other recreational vehicle. I usually drive 15 miles to car show. It sits there all day with the engine off. I tell lies to other car guys about it and whatnot, and we all talk, and then you go home. You know, so it's not like these cars are being driven hundreds of thousands of miles all the time. It didn't seem like that big a thing to do, because every other state, any car 25 years or over is considered a classic and not have to subject to all the rules and regulations. We're the only one that really does that, and I'm sorry it's that way, but apparently it didn't pass, so it didn't pass. So, I mean, at some point, maybe we'll try again and see what happens. And, you know, that's where we are.
Well, Mr. Leno, I appreciate you sharing just some time with us. We reached out to you 15 minutes ago. So thank you for coming on under short notice. Let me ask you this before we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was
wondering.
Need
a couple of bucks? What do you need? Oh, go ahead.
Well, since you brought it up, yeah. No, seriously though, it may have been no right now, but now people, I believe, more of the general public know about this issue and more about this bill than ever before. Do you think that with a groundswell of support from people like me and others who may not have been aware of it prior to, may change the calculus?
Well, that's possible, you know. I would go with the Clay Constance and try it again. You know, I met with the Air Resources Board, and I complimented them on the great work they do. I think they thought I'm not an adversary. I mean, I like classic cars, but I also like them to be clean. I like them to be efficient. And I like them because people like them. I mean, if they're blowing smoke and dirtying up the environment, well, then nobody wants that, you know. So when I met with them, I thanked them for the good job they've done. I thought this one just goes too far. It just seems to be, you know, if I have a 1989 automobile, the fact that to even find a smog station that will give me a check, even though it passes, and then I can't find one, so I don't pass it, and now I'm a criminal. Now I'm driving an illegal car, and now you're breaking, you know, you're just kind of making criminals out of innocent people, you know. The old thing when 51% of people break the law, it's not a law anymore. You know what I mean? And that's where it is. I know so many people that inherited their grandfather's Cadillac or whatever it might be, and they just want to take it to a car show on Sunday, and they can't. I mean, having to just pay a little extra or whatever it might be, that doesn't seem unfair to me. You even put a mileage limit. You're limited to 2,500 miles a year. Okay, that's that kind of thing. But to be able to force you to take it off the road completely when you're just usually going from point A to point B on a weekend for a car show, that doesn't seem like that big a deal to me.
You're making too much sense. As I was told a long time ago, don't try to make sense out of nonsense. Mr. Jay Leno, thank you so much for coming on tonight under short notice, and hopefully we'll have you on again.
I'll be calling in on your guess the movie quiz. Yeah.
Well, it won't be this Friday because we're preempted by the Chargers, but how about week after next? Call it.
Oh, yeah. No, I enjoy that. That's good. It's good. Sometimes the clues are just, you have one, it was just, it was just noise. Like, wait, that's not fair. You don't have somebody speaking. I mean, who's picking the clues?
It's Mark Ronner. He's picking the clues.
Hey. Jay, Bullet or Vanishing Point? Car movies.
Oh, Bullet, the better one.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you for that.
Oh, yeah, Bullet's it. Well, you know what's great about Bullet is all the flaws. Like, you see, he's driving 100 miles an hour through the streets of San Francisco, tearing around corners, and the same Volkswagen is behind him 3 times.
I never noticed that.
Yeah. And then he goes around a corner, 1 hubcap comes off. And then 3. I think 5 hubcaps come off. There's only 4 hubcaps on the car. But 5 come off. Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of funny little mistakes. You know, things that you could never get away with in movies now. They just did then. You know,
nobody noticed back then.
And my friend Bud Eakins, he was the guy who slid the motorcycle. Remember the guy goes by in a helmet, and the bad guys cut him off, and he lays the bike down and slides across the highway. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I'm looking at a photo of him on a bike right now. Yeah.
But that movie got more people to wear seatbelts because the scene where the bad guys are being chased and you see the guy reach down, he goes click, click, you know, he clicks the seatbelt with a big loud clunk and he pulls it tight, you know, and then he floors it and the 2 guys drive off. Yeah,
well, between that and the Adam West Batman, that did the job on seatbelts.
Yeah. I knew Adam. He was a great guy. He had a real sense of humor. He didn't take himself seriously because it was such a ridiculous Batman thing. It was so dumb.
See,
but he was a nice guy.
See, it was dumb, Mark. Told you.
It was magnificent, is what it was.
We gotta go, Mark.
Okay,
Mr. Leno, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
All right, you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640 live.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
Everywhere, the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, Mr. Mo Kelly. Back from Europe, had a wonderful vacation. And to think, I walk back into the studio tonight, there's a story regarding classic cars and Jay Leno. And he comes on just like that. just like that. It wasn't even, the show had already started. We hadn't even reached out. It's like, hey, on a lark, I'll just reach out to his people and see if he's available. And he was nice enough and available to come on, and he can tell his story better than anyone else regarding Leno's Law. So I got the sense that it's not over. This is a setback, and who knows what the future may hold. But I'm a kid who grew up loving, they weren't called classic cars then. They were just cars because they were the cars of the day. The whole idea, look, and I know Mark Ronner would probably agree with me on this one. I mentioned Starsky and Hutch.
Gran Torino.
Gran Torino was my dream car.
I had one of those.
Was it styled the same way?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't colored like a tomato. No.
Yes.
Look, that racing stripe was to the thing back then.
Oh yeah, that was an amazing car. Mine was. I think it was repainted. It was like a powder blue or something. But the engine in those, you could almost go up like a 90-degree hill.
Do you have a dream classic car that you would want to own or drive?
Absolutely. It would be an old Jaguar, probably an E-Type, XKE. They're beautiful.
You seem more like an Aston Martin.
Oh, those are beautiful too. But I mean, those are very specific to a James Bond thing. Yeah. But I think the big flared front on those old Jags, there's nothing like them. They're just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Oh, mine is the Gran Torino. Sam, what is yours?
I mentioned it earlier. Knight Rider. I want Kit.
So you want like the 84 version of the Trans Am, not the whole Smoking the Bandit Trans Am.
No, I want Kit. I want the interior. I want the voice talking to me. I want all of that.
We pretty much have the voice talk. We have Kit today, pretty much.
We do. You know what? I need to program. Does Waze have that on there?
Yeah, it's called Amy King.
That's right. She is. But I need to get Kit's voice on my phone.
Yeah, and then you could Bluetooth it into your system.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Twally, you have a choice?
I would repurchase a 73 Dodge Dart. My very, very first car, the first car that I bought with my own money was a 73 Dodge Dart. I wanted because it's the same year that I was born. And that car was amazing. The get up on that car was fantastic. But I knew nothing about car, and I got it as, it was a bucket. It was a bucket. It was something for the summer, and I couldn't drive. I didn't have a driver's license. I didn't know how to drive, but I still bought it. And me and my friends still just drove all around all summer until the thing fell apart.
One of the groomsmen at my wedding, who I grew up with, who grew up on the same street, his father, and I think he may still have it to this day, had a 72 Chevy Corvette. The old style. And it was yellow. So it always stood out. And I hope he still has the car. I'll have to reach out. It was one of those cars that, and he kept it in great condition. You could hear it coming down the street. That's a car I would have, an old school Corvette I would have in a heartbeat. And it's not something that, I don't collect things. I collect more memories than actual physical things. I've never collected cars, but I've always been partial to American Muscle. Now, there are other cars, classic cars, the old school Mercedes-Benz with the insignia, the hood ornament, which stuck up. Mm-hmm. And the reason they changed it because people were stealing them off of the hoods of cars.
Yeah.
But the old classic Mercedes-Benz, definitely. A Citroen. I know Mark would know that old car, the Citroen.
Yeah, the European cars.
Would love to have one of those. But as far as my personal preferences, American Muscle.
Oh, if I could get a Volkswagen, like a 73, like just a bug, just to rebuild it.
I see you living out of a Volkswagen Vanagon.
I would rock a Vanagon.
Did you know that those are back now?
They're nice.
Yes.
They're actually really nice. And I liked when they brought back the Volkswagen Bug. It didn't have, it turned, sorry, this is going to sound sexist. It turned into a woman's car.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
When they brought back the Volkswagen Bug,
it's all round.
Dudes could not drive one of those.
They put eyelashes on them.
Right. This all no freaking way would I ever get one of those.
Oh, please. How insecure are you guys?
Very when it comes to that. I want
something that's going to disturb the entire neighborhood every time I come.
Look, let's tell the truth. There are certain cars which are more suited to be seen in as a woman as opposed to a man.
You're going to anthropomorphize cars now?
Yes.
Okay,
look, if you're growing up and you're driving a Volkswagen Golf, or a Volkswagen Fox. Cabriolet. That's not the dude's car. Okay. The dude's car was a Scirocco.
Oh,
that was the lick.
Actually, no, you know what? There was a Scirocco in Dawn of the Dead. So you can have points for the Scirocco reference.
Scirocco was great. That was my dream car when I was 14. Volkswagen Scirocco? Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'll admit that the Subaru is specifically for lesbians, but apart from that,
that come from?
apart from that, I think none of you have any idea what you're talking about.
That was Mark Ronner.
That was Mark Ronner. Send all hate mail.
Like that's a controversial thing to say.
No. Subaru was one of the first people that didn't check in on people's marriages. So if there were gay and lesbian couples, Subaru was one of the first companies that would lease cars to gays and lesbians.
Sam the sex doctor.
Thank you. Thanks for the backup there.
You just Captain Save the Mark with that one.
I didn't need you saving. In the Pacific Northwest, if you are lesbian, you're required to have a Subaru. They'll stop you.
Okay.
They got checkpoints.
I don't think Dr. Sam was going to co-sign all that.
I don't need him for this one. I got this. I speak the truth. You can check this out.
My co-parent is into women and she drives a Subaru, so I can't argue.
Oh my gosh. What is going on with this show? I leave for 2 weeks, and all hell is broken loose in the interim. Now we're talking about cars and sexual preferences. So politically incorrect. It's Late with Mo Kelly. We want to listen back to our conversation with Tia Carrere in just a moment. KFI AM 640 Live every.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
Where? On the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Oh, Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
You may know the iconic Tia Carrere from Wayne's World or even True Lies. Yes, she could even play a good villain. Some may need to be reminded that Carrere also is a 2-time Grammy Award winner. You may know her across generations, from her contributions to both the animated original version of Lilo and Stitch and the recent live-action version of Lilo and Stitch, the highest-grossing movie of 2025 with more than $1 billion. Lilo and Stitch is now on digital, streaming exclusively on Disney Plus, starting on September 3rd. What a delight to have the inimitable Tia Carrere here on Later with Mo Kelly. Miss Carrere, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great. I've got my evening voice on even.
I love it. I could make the argument that as a kid born in Honolulu, that Lilo and Stitch, either version was a perfect fit for you as an actor. But when you had dreams of being a singer, which were temporarily set back after being eliminated on Star Search, did you have any idea that acting might be the way forward?
Well, it's funny. My musical partner, Daniel Ho, that I got the Grammys with, we were in the talent contest when we were in grade school. So that was already, bubbling along. But movies are the things that really I've been making my living at since day one. I was discovered in a grocery store in Waikiki, and that's how I got my first movie. And that has just been going on for the past 41 years. When I moved to LA, I did Star Search, like 84, whatever it was, but it was for the acting competition, strangely enough. They didn't have enough space in the singing part.
Oh.
They didn't have it in the supermodel. There was a supermodel part where you were hosting in between, if you remember back in the day. It's funny. So I did the acting competition, which is so random because, how would you judge acting? Who's better, Pacino or De Niro? Neither, both, all of the above. You can't really judge acting the same way.
Since you mentioned acting, you've acted on soap operas, on daytime TV. You've done movies, voiceover, singer, as well as we were just discussing. Is there a discipline or format that you enjoy more or less than others?
I love both. I really do. I'm so grateful that I get to do both. there's a feeling I get when I sing, and I think it's, the vibration in your chest, in your body, the how it connects with the audience. I love the feeling of singing live in the room, and then seeing people, especially when I sing Aloha Oi, the song from Lilo and Stitch, and I'll see people, they'll start crying. It's not that sadistic thing, but I just love that it touches their heart. I'm sad that it makes them sad, but it's something like, they say when tears like wash your soul.
Yes.
And, they carry a sadness in them, and they're remembering somebody they lost. And I think it's such a beautiful moment to share. And I think music does that, or can do that with people in a way. It's so visceral. It's so real, the connection. Aloha, oi, aloha, oi, ike ona ona no, ikalipo, one fond embrace, aho ia, until we meet again.
That's a nice transition. Let's get into that. There's Lilo and Stitch 2002, where you voice Nani, and there's Lilo and Stitch, the live action 2025 remake, which is available on digital and Disney Plus on September 3rd, where you play social worker Mrs. Keikoa. What was it like revisiting the Lilo and Stitch franchise?
Yeah, it's funny that, 23 years later, so I was that messy, out of control teenager that couldn't get her act together, trying to keep her family together. And now I'm the social worker that's poised to break that family up in a way, but I think it's beautiful how the character was created, and the point of view is like, okay, so Dean Fleischer Camp, the director of this live action film, his mom is really a social worker. And so he wanted to have more empathy. And, they're not all just like the big bad, people that are going to take away the kid. Mine is more advocating, trying to help her and mentor her to keep her family together. So it's done with great empathy, and I appreciate that. So I also had a backstory for myself that I said, hey, what if I actually went through the system? I'm a child that went through the foster system and came out the other end and got this profession that I can help mentor, and he loved that. And so it really colored my whole performance and the way that it was. So I like that I can be somebody that's advocating and helping keep families together.
Nani, we both know this didn't go well today. I can see you're trying, but you're too smart for me to beat around the bush here. I know it hasn't been that long since your parents passed away, but my job is to make sure that Lilo is in a stable environment. And I can't say that in good conscience right now. Listen, I know this is a lot. You're practically a kid yourself. Look, you seem like a goal-oriented person. We have a new director coming into town next week. And I would really, really love to tell him that you girls have turned a corner. So why don't we come up with some goals to achieve by then?
Yeah.
I like the nuance of what I would call the more serious and adult themes. You have children who've lost their parents and they're trying to keep that family together, as we were just discussing. But also it's a coming of age and dealing with some uncertainty of life and its twists and turns. Would you agree with me that the live action was a more appropriate format to deal with some of these themes as opposed to animated?
Oh, no, I think they're both fantastic and superlative. I think the fact that this is live action made it imperative to handle things in a very realistic manner. So in the animated feature, it's a beautiful watercolor world. And so you could go on this fantastical journey, and it doesn't have to be literal, but because we're in the real world now, looking at real people, the stakes have to be real world stakes. And even the resolution at the end that people are taking issue with, I think it's accurate, because we do have to go and put our face mask on before we help each other, on the airplane. So she has to uplift herself to be able to help her family and to help her community. And I don't want to give away the ending, but that's why I'm sort of speaking like in those terms. I think it's a really beautifully nuanced, realistic rendering of that watercolor world that we saw 23 years ago. And I'm very excited to see what Chris Sanders comes up with for the live action sequel, because, he's from that previous world and now bringing it into this real live world. It's going to be very interesting to see the marriage between the two. It's going to be exciting.
Have you changed the way that you approach certain projects like this? Because now you're a mother as opposed to earlier in your career in which you weren't. Has your growth in life changed how you approach these projects, which are more family oriented?
Oh, 100%. I definitely dig deeper and think more deeply about how to approach a character. There's no like one note. They're not just the villain. They're not just the kid. And I think that's what people were responding to in this movie, is there's such a depth, even to Nani. Like my character Nani in the cartoon, she was like tough and, kicking butt and frustrated with her sister. And it was very filmic because it was an animated world. But in this movie, you had to see the subtlety in Sydney's eyes.
Yes.
Who played Nani. You have to see the subtlety of her being conflicted and being scared that she's not going to be able to pull it off and overwhelmed. And I love, again, how this has touched people's hearts. How grown women and men, honestly, have come up to me and said, I can't believe that I spent 20 minutes of this film just really weeping. It just brought up so much in me and the struggles I had as a young person. And I can't believe how much it really affected me deeply. And that longing for their family. It's beautiful. That's when you know that your art form has touched people, that that you successfully created something special there.
If you're just joining the show, I'm speaking with Tia Carrere. Yes, you know her from Wayne's World, True Lies, and so much more. But of course, we're talking about Lilo and Stitch, and it's streaming exclusively on Disney Plus on September 3rd.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
More with Tia Carrere in just a moment.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, Mo Kelly, Later with Mo Kelly. We're talking Lilo and Stitch with Tia Carrere, which is now on digital. It's streaming exclusively on Disney Plus September 3rd. Tia, I wonder though, since now the business of making movies has changed. When you and I were growing up, we didn't have this outlet called streaming where we could have the movie shortly after it leaves theaters and see it again and again and again. For those who may watch it for the first time or maybe for the second or third time, but on the digital format of Disney Plus, is there anything different or in addition to what they may have seen in the theaters?
I think if you get the DVD, you get like, I don't know if there's deleted scenes, director's commentary, stuff like that. You'll get on the DVD that releases on the 26th. But I think once it's on Disney Plus, unless they put out TV specials, they might be putting these little shorts in between.
Gotcha.
You know how they do? It's like, because they interviewed us on the set, and I've seen some of these coming out here and there, advertising the film. So I'm sure that Disney Plus will release these little behind the scenes that we did on set and explaining how they do stuff and funny little short videos that they did for marketing and stuff. But it's expensive to go see the movies, let's be honest. So maybe mommy and daddy and a couple of the older kids went that, they said, okay, we'll spend on it. It's expensive. So now I love that it's on Disney Plus where everybody can go. Grandma, grandpa, great grandma, great grandpa, and the kids, the littles that maybe were a little too young to go to the theater to really absorb it. And so they're like, or maybe it'll be a little too scary for them a few months ago. Now they can see it on TV, sitting there with, mommy and daddy hugging them so that they don't get scared. They're like, oh, ha, 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 you can sort of make it into more of a thing. because there's some like outer space stuff and, some stuff where they're chasing and there's real peril. So I think it'll be great to be able to sit on the couch and watch it with the family, the whole family.
Ms. Carrere, I've appreciated you spending this time with me. 2 more quick questions. Yeah. Number 1, I buried the lead, or I should say we buried the lead, because you mentioned the apparent sequel that is in the works for Lilo and Stitch. What are you allowed to tell us?
All I can say is that we were at San Diego Comic-Con a couple weeks ago, and Chris Sanders and the original creator of the character Stitch, he did it in art school when he was like, I don't know, 20 or something. Chris Sanders, myself, Sydney, who plays Nani, and Maya, who plays Lilo, we were all on the panel, and the big announcement that they are indeed doing a sequel. But that doesn't surprise us because, the first one did $1 billion. Our little blue friend is a billionaire, yes. So they had to do a sequel, and we're all there for it. They did do a sequel of the first one. Stitch has a glitch. So what remains to be seen is if they follow that storyline or use that as a jumping off point, or if they don't do that at all. I mean, that's really firmly in Chris Sanders' hands. We will see. We'll have to watch this space.
I know that people are listening right now who have loved your work over the period of many years, and people, I guess, find you at different points in your career and our lives. So when people recognize you and they come up to you, are they saying, oh, that's Tia Carrere from Wayne's World or True Lies or Lilo and Stitch, or is it something else?
Well, right now I'm going back on tour September till October. And I love when people respond to the music, because it's like, again, that feeling live in the room. So I'm going to be going, like, you can check my website. I haven't updated it, but there's some dates on there, like September 23rd till October 18th, I think, if you look on tiacarrere.com. But lately, okay, so this is the funny thing. I went to the Squid Games premiere this last, I don't know, a few months ago, and there's a red carpet, and all the stars from the Squid Games are there, and all these people are coming up to me, taking pictures with me because they recognize Mrs. Keikoa, and I was like, wow, that's where I knew that this movie was hitting a chord. This is before it was like $1 billion movie, or this is like the first week, and the amount of people that had gone to see Lilo and Stitch in the theaters was staggering, just by the amount of people that were recognizing me in that moment. And I just had a feeling, I'm like, this is going to be a huge movie. If this is an indicator, it was very early days, and this was already happening. So Mrs. Keikoa definitely, because Mrs. Keikoa doesn't have much hair and makeup, so she looks more like what I look like in real life.
And we love it. Lilo and Stitch is now streaming exclusively on Disney Plus starting September 3rd. And there you can catch the wonderful, the inimitable Tia Carrere. I appreciate you coming on the show on such short notice. We celebrate your success. Thank you so much. And we'll be looking out for the sequel of Lilo and Stitch in the coming years.
Next year, I think.
Next year. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
now you're just breaking news now.
Oh, no, I don't know. No, I don't know. No, I don't know. Well, you know what? Wait, no, what? I'm lying. I just lied to you. I'm so sorry. Or so early in our relationship, I'm already lying. It can't possibly be, because they got visual effects and stuff they got to do. That takes like a year.
I'll take it this way. We'll wait until after next year so they can correct us.
Yes.
It's not a lie yet.
I'll prove that. I'll let them prove me wrong.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.